Anna loved her husband, Mark, deeply and unconditionally. Their life together wasn't extravagant, but it was theirs, filled with personal touches and shared memories. A small apartment filled with laughter and warmth, a true sanctuary. Shared dreams whispered over late-night coffee, creating a bond that grew stronger each day. He was her rock, her confidant. She believed in him wholeheartedly.
Mark worked hard climbing the corporate ladder. I encouraged him every step of the way. I saw his ambition as a fire, fueling our future and dreams.
He often talked about his boss, Mr. Davis, a powerful man in their industry, someone who commanded respect, a man who could make or break careers with a single decision.
One evening, Mark came home, his eyes shining with a mixture of excitement and anxiety, a rare combination. He had an idea, a plan to impress Mr. Davis, something that could change everything. A plan that involved Anna, requiring her support and presence.
He wanted her to accompany him to a party, a gathering of the city's elite, a significant event, a chance to get close to Mr. Davis, an opportunity they couldn't miss.
I hesitated. Parties weren't my scene, and I felt out of place. I preferred quiet evenings with Mark, our private moments of peace. But I saw the burning desire in his eyes, the hope for our future. I loved him deeply. I wanted to support him in every way possible. I agreed, ready to stand by his side.
The dress Mark chose was crimson, a stark contrast to Anna's usual pastel palette. It hugged her curves, making her feel exposed.
He had it specially tailored. He said she looked stunning.
She felt like a pawn in his game. The party was held in a penthouse suite overlooking the city's glittering skyline. The air buzzed with conversations about money, power, and influence. Anna felt out of place. She clung to Mark's arm, seeking comfort in his presence.
He introduced her to Mr. Davis, a man with steel gray hair and eyes that seemed to dissect her soul. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Mark steered her closer. Charm him, Anna. For us.
Her stomach clenched. As the evening progressed, Mark seemed to strategically move away, leaving Anna alone with Mr. Davis. He kept refilling her glass with champagne. Her head spun. She felt trapped like a bird in a gilded cage. Mr. Davis was a skilled conversationalist. He spoke of art, of travel, of life's finer things, things Anna and Mark could only dream of. He listened intently when she spoke, making her feel interesting, desired. He touched her arm lightly, sending shivers down her spine, a feeling she hadn't experienced in years, not since the early days with Mark.
Guilt gnawed at me, but Mr. Davis's attention was intoxicating. I was lost in a whirlwind of flattery and deceit.
Mark watched from afar, a satisfied smirk playing on his lips. He saw the way Mr. Davis looked at his wife. He saw his plan unfolding perfectly. He didn't care about the betrayal. He only cared about the reward.
As the night wore on, Mr. Davis invited Anna to step out onto the balcony, away from the noise and the crowd. She hesitated, her conscience screaming at her, but his gaze held her captive. She followed him, her heart pounding in her chest.
The city lights twinkled beneath them, a million tiny stars against the velvet sky. Mr. Davis poured more champagne, his hand brushing hers. She felt his eyes on her, stripping away her defenses.
He leaned in close, his voice a husky whisper in her ear. He complimented her dress, her perfume, her presence. He made her feel special, important, desired, all the things she craved but no longer received from Mark.
And then he kissed her. It was a slow, deliberate kiss, full of promises and unspoken desires. Anna froze, her mind rebelling against the betrayal. But her body responded to his touch. She felt a spark, a flicker of something dangerous and exciting. The kiss broke, leaving Anna breathless and shaken. She stepped back, her hand flying to her lips. Shame washed over her. What had she done? She had betrayed Mark, her vows, herself.
Don't look so surprised, darling. Your husband knew this would happen.
What are you talking about?
She whispered, her voice barely audible above the city's din. Mr. Davis took a sip of his champagne, his eyes never leaving hers.
He offered you to me, a little incentive to sweeten the deal on that merger we've been discussing.
The world tilted on its axis. Anna's knees buckled and she gripped the railing for support. She felt sick, the champagne churning in her stomach. Mark had planned this. He had used her, sold her, like a commodity. Anger surged through Anna, replacing the nausea with a burning rage. How could he, The man she loved, the man she trusted with her life, had betrayed her in the worst way imaginable. And for what? For a promotion? For money? She stumbled back into the party, her eyes searching for Mark. She found him across the room, laughing with a group of executives. He saw her, his smile faltering for a moment when he noticed the fury in her eyes. Anna marched towards him, her anger propelling her forward. She didn't care about the whispers, the curious stares. She didn't care about anything except confronting the man who had shattered her world. As she reached him, Mark's face drained of color. He tried to speak, to explain, but she cut him off at him.
You used me. You sold me to him like some kind of possession.
Mark stammered, trying to deny it, but the guilt was etched on his face. He looked around nervously, desperate to avoid a scene. But Anna didn't care about his reputation, about his precious career. She only cared about the betrayal that had ripped through her soul.
Don't lie to me. I know what you did. Mr. Davis told me everything.
Tears streamed down her face, hot and angry. She wanted to hurt him, to make him feel the pain he had inflicted upon her. She raised her hand, her palm connecting with his cheek in a resounding slap. The sound of the slap seemed to break the spell that had fallen over the room. Murmurs erupted around them, but Anna didn't care. She had seen the truth in Mark's eyes, the confirmation of his betrayal, and in that moment she knew she deserved better. Anna turned and fled from the party, the stifling air heavy with the stench of deceit. She didn't look back, not even once. She didn't care about the whispers, the judging eyes that followed her every move.
I had been a fool to trust him, to believe in our love, to think it was real.
She walked for hours, her mind racing, her heart aching with every step. How could she have been so blind to his true nature? Had their entire marriage been a lie, a facade? Had he ever truly loved her? Or was it all a charade? Or had she simply been a pawn in his game of ambition and deceit?
As dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange, I found myself sitting on a bench in a deserted park, feeling utterly alone. Exhausted, both physically and emotionally drained, I finally allowed myself to cry. Tears of anger, of betrayal, of grief for the life I thought I had, the life that was now gone.
She knew she couldn't go back to him. The trust was shattered, the foundation of their relationship irrevocably broken beyond repair. She deserved more than to be someone's bargaining chip, someone's possession to be traded for power and wealth. She deserved to be free. The decision to leave Mark was the hardest thing Anna had ever done. It was a moment filled with pain and uncertainty, but also a glimmer of hope. But with each passing day, she began to rebuild her life, piece by piece. She felt a surge of strength, a newfound determination to reclaim her life. A sense of liberation she had never known before washed over her, filling her with a profound sense of freedom.
I had been through hell and back, facing challenges I never imagined. But I emerged from the fire, stronger and more resilient, ready to face whatever came next.
She found solace in unexpected places, in the kindness of strangers who offered support without expecting anything in return, in the unwavering support of old friends who stood by her side, and in the simple joys of rediscovering herself and her passions. She took up painting again, a hobby she had long abandoned, her canvases becoming an outlet for the emotions that swirled within her, a therapeutic release.
I learned to love and value myself, to nurture my own well-being, to recognize my worth beyond the superficiality of appearances and material possessions, and to embrace my true self. True happiness stemmed not from external validation, but from the love and respect I held for myself, deep within.
The road to healing was long and arduous, but Anna faced each challenge with newfound courage and determination. She learned to forgive, not for Mark, but for herself, to release the burden of anger. She refused to let his betrayal define her or dictate her future, choosing instead to write her own story. Years later, Anna stood in her art studio, surrounded by vibrant canvases that reflected the beauty and resilience she had found within herself. Her eyes, once clouded with pain, now sparkled with a quiet joy.
I learned that forgiveness was not about condoning the actions of others, but about freeing myself from the shackles of the past. It was about choosing to embrace the future with an open heart, knowing that I am worthy of love, happiness, and respect.
Anna's journey had been one of heartbreak and healing, of betrayal and self-discovery. But through it all, she had emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to live a life true to herself.
And as I look out at the world, I do so with a newfound clarity, knowing that the greatest love story I will ever write is the one I write with myself.